Hey friends, Happy New Year. I am excited to start my third composition notebook art journal. Woohoo! This is my first page, and we're going to start on the first page. I don't know if I'll end up going chronologically through this journal because it is prepared, so every page already has some collage on it, and I may or may not feel inspired to do the next page sequentially, but for now I'm starting that way. And it is a new year and a new journal, so yay. I didn't really time that on purpose, but that's just the way it worked out. So I don't know why I even put the green paint in the little palette tray, because I typically don't do that. I put the paint right on the page and spread it around when I'm I'm not doing like fine art where you've got to specifically paint specific areas. And because of that, I end up like wasting a big glob of paint. And typically I put it on another page, but I didn't do that this time. Anywho, also with acrylic paints, they are water-based, so if they're going on a little too thick, you just dip your brush in the water and it kind of thins it out. And then you can control how much or little opacity that you want with your acrylic markers. So when I begin with collaging, sometimes I want some of that collage to kind of show through. So you just add a little bit of water. And this blue was like slimy, pasty thick. So that was going to be completely opaque because it was really, really thick. So there's really no particular method to what I'm doing right here, as far as like I'm just kind of covering the page and going around intuitively wherever I feel like putting blue or feel like putting greens. So sometimes when you're at this stage, you can kind of overanalyze it too much. Just trust the process at this point. Sometimes you might be like, oh gosh, I started like mostly greens and now it's like turning all blue. What am I doing? So it really doesn't matter too much, because it'll just kind of fade into the background as we add more and more layers. So don't overthink it. It's gonna be fine. So I have this little piece of bubble wrap, and I'm gonna, so the way that I use the bubble wrap stamping method is just painting it on lightly so that I don't get too much paint like down in the cracks, and I don't want to like smear it on a big flat surface and then waste it. So I figured this is kind of the most efficient way to stamp with bubble wrap. And this particular bubble wrap had a little pocket, so I could just put it around my hand. How convenient. Okay, so I started recording and explaining that this is neon blacklight paint in just, I guess, regular yellow, glows with a black light. And I thought, oh, I should actually go test that. So we have a little handheld black light and it works. I will show you. I don't want to give you the spoiler. Well, I guess you already saw the finish page at the beginning of the video, but I will show you how the page looks when it's finished under a black light. It's really cool. So hang on till the end. Okay, so this can be a little scary at first for some of you if you haven't done this before, putting black paint over your beautiful, colorful page. But I'm doing this because I know I want to write some text, and I have done this a few times with, just creating areas of black so that when you write in white or a light color, it just kind of pops off the page. So that's what I'm doing. I'm using this piece of tissue paper or parchment paper to lay over the area where I want to write my phrase so that I can kind of practice figuring out, okay, how am I going to space my words, right? So I keep a notebook of quotes and ideas, thoughts, and things that just throughout life strike me as something significant. And I like to pull from there. This is something that happened to me recently. I didn't even have to write it down because it's so recent. So if you've watched here, you know that I was sick for so long. In fact, technically, I started feeling sick about 5 weeks ago. And the final symptom is that my ears still are a little bit plugged. Now they're starting to pop and crack. And so I'm so relieved that the end is in sight. The last time we were gathered with our faith community, somebody offered to pray for me, and they were praying over my ears, and I felt a whisper from God that, sometimes he allows things in the physical to speak to us in the spiritual. So I really felt like he was showing me that my ears are plugged because my ears are plugged. And by that, I mean my spiritual ears. I'm going to pause right here just to say that I know that I have a wide variety of people in my audience as far as like faith and religious background goes. And I share a lot personally, mostly because I'm just an open book. So art, I think, is very personal. So of course, it's going to reflect what we believe. And for me, that means my relationship with God. So, and I also am just a very open person. I share way too much probably with people. I don't have a whole lot of secrets. I should probably be careful I don't put my mother's maiden name and my social security number on here. But I want you to know that even as I share my faith, I will never preach at you. Just so you know what my channel is all about, I basically just share everything with everybody. So I hope that you can relate or take encouragement from what I share, or just, learn. Maybe I have a different faith than you and you get a glimpse into what a relationship with the God of the Bible is like. We Christians tend to use terminology like mountains and valleys or hot or cold to describe how close we feel with God. And so I would say about 2 years ago, I was on a mountaintop, and then I just I fell off a cliff spiritually. And not that I went out and changed the way that I lived or believed, but it was more just that intimacy that I was experiencing with God. And I was used to having just a daily two-way conversation. And then all of a sudden, I just felt like I couldn't hear his voice. And so I pursued and pressed in for several months, probably the first year. And then at some point, I kind of stopped. And so I think that was the main message that he was giving to me this day with my ears, is that because I was so desperate to want to be over this sickness so that I could hear clearly the people and the sounds around me. But how much more so do I want to hear his voice? I love it when he's so good to us that he will speak into our individual lives so personally that he just shows us that he cares. He cares about us. He wants to have a deep, intimate relationship with us, not just our commitment to a set of principles. Yes, he wants us to live in a way that honors him, but so much more. He wants our heart. He wants the relationship. Okay, so I am done with the page for the most part, and I am just going to seal it with a thin layer of Mod Podge. So that green paint streaked just a little bit, kind of messed up a little area, but what I did is just kind of let it all dry, and then I went back in with a black marker and kind of fixed it. Yeah, I didn't realize that a little bit of that green paint was still wet and it's smudged and smeared. But some of those kind of things you can fix. Okay, so this is my page, and this is intentionally dark because look at that. Isn't that cool? That is Blacklight. So not only did the yellow activate under the Blacklight, but I'm also noticing that my metallic color paints, the bluish purple, really reflects, and also the pink. Yeah, that was the metallic one as well. So how fun is that? I think that's so cool. So this gives me an idea to do a page with like secret messages. Ooh. I think I'm going to do that. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed watching my process and getting a glimpse into my mind. Pray that you are blessed. I pray that you have ears to hear his voice and that you know how much he loves you. Have a blessed day.